Hi everyone, Coach Heather here, and I wanted to share with you something that's been emerging in my support of clients recently, and I'm hoping it'll help you too. It's about having confidence in your own expertise that you've gained over time. So, one of the things that I've noticed happens when you work inside of entrepreneurial companies, and let's say you've been a loyal employee and you've been at the same company for many years now. Well, one of the things that happens because of that is that you've grown up inside of the organization. And as you've done that, you've learned and grown and gained a lot of wisdom along the way. And in your busyness of the day to day, launching products and just being in it with the team and with your CEO, what you may not have noticed is how far you have come. And you may not have fully noticed it, and your CEO might not have noticed it, your leadership team may not have noticed it, because you're just that busy. And I want you to pause, take a moment, and recognize your growth and achievement. Because the thing is, if you had been moving along more in your career from organization to organization and updating your resume and going on job interviews and telling them about your advancements, your different achievements, you might notice your progression more, right? Every time we change jobs and have that conversation and those salary negotiations, we notice our growth a little more than when we stay in an organization. That's why if we just stay in one place, which is not a bad thing at all, it just means that if we do that, we have to be more intentional about noticing our own growth and achievement so that we don't take it for granted or let it go unnoticed, right? So you have to learn to notice your achievement and toot your own horn here, right? Because no one else is going to do it for you, and you should notice how far you've come. So one of the gifts about working in entrepreneurial companies is you do get to roll up your sleeves and learn to figure a lot of things out. This is a gift because you have been behind the scenes in a lot of things and have probably figured out all kinds of stuff. I know I have. I know before I entered entrepreneurial businesses, I would have considered myself absolutely not good at technology, no way, no how. And now I still wouldn't consider myself a techie, but the truth is I can figure a lot of things out in a whole bunch of different kinds of programs, and I wouldn't be able to tell you how I did it, but I have the confidence to get in there and figure a lot of stuff out successfully. And I know how to put that on my resume and help myself in my future if I need and want to. So, can you take a pause right now, right here with me, and think about your entrepreneurial journey and your role? What do you know how to do today that you didn't used to know how to do when you started in your role in your organization? Because here's the thing I know. While you're working in your entrepreneurial company, I like to say you get a master's degree in your organization, in your CEO, how they think and behave under stress and pressure. You get a master's degree in strategic business thinking. You get a master's degree in what your clients think and how they behave in what they want. And that translates into all kinds of good business thinking. And you probably don't realize that. But this is business gold. this has led you to help the team make a lot of good business decisions, right? So how have you grown up in your role inside of your organization? What do you know how to think about today that you had no idea how to think about when you started out? I'll give you an example from my journey. When I started in an entrepreneurial business many, many years ago, like almost a decade ago now, I knew nothing about online launching business. And I remember this very fancy digital marketer coming in, getting paid lots of money to sort of advise and working with me. And she was kind of throwing a lot of terms around, and one of them was list segmentation. And I remember it because I didn't know what that meant. I was like, okay, we're going to segment stuff. What are we segmenting? I have no idea. I was just trying to take notes and keep up. And I had no idea what this meant. But fast forward 6 months later, I found myself in a big company meeting with our parent company, and we were talking about the strategy that we were doing and how it was unfolding, and out of my mouth came the word segmentation in a full sentence that made sense. And I was telling them all about our strategy, and I actually knew what I was talking about. 6 months later, I knew what segmentation was, and I was talking about it in ways that made sense. So what can you do and talk about and explain now that you didn't used to be able to? Right? I hope this is making sense and that you can track how this works in your role and in your organization and see the ways that you have grown. Because like I said, you are the one that needs to notice this and acknowledge this for yourself. It's not that people don't care. It's that business changes so fast today and everyone is so busy. And in entrepreneurial businesses, by their very nature, everyone is doing as much as they can with not enough resources. So people are not noticing what's happening in your role. They're not noticing your growth. That is your responsibility. So I am empowering you in this moment to take responsibility for your career and your growth trajectory and notice, who are you today in your role? Who have you become? How would you define your role? If you were stepping out into the job marketplace today, how would you define your role? How would you define your level of expertise? What are the things you can do really, really well that you're super proud of? Own that, claim that, and then let's think about and be sure that your CEO and leadership know that you know these things today, that you own these things today, and you know how to responsibly think about your area of the business. Because they might not have noticed that you can now own this part of the business. And we want them to know that. And we want them to be able to give you even more responsibility to step up and own this area of the business because you can and because you want to shine. And I want that for you. Anyway, I am cheering you on. This is a thought that I had as I was supporting some clients, and I thought that it might help all of you out there. Please let me know if you need any support or you have any questions. Reach out in the comments below this video. And if you'd like to hop on a free discovery call and get some additional coaching support, there's a link to do that as well. And that's it for today. Thanks so much.